Magnificent, wise, and holy God, we've come to the throne of grace to give thanks to you, an incredible God who deserves an incredible praise. We thank you for this occasion to celebrate and commemorate the commencement of the professional lives of these, our students. As we go forth in celebration and for the remainder of this academic year, Lord, may your favor rest upon us and establish the work of our hands. In your power, strengthen us. In your gentleness, guide us. In your greatness, lift us up that we might aspire to greater things. As students are presented with their white coat and public health students their pen, let this moment spur them on to higher heights in their academic and professional endeavors. Enlarge the territories of their mind and develop every gift and treasure you have placed inside them. Allow it to grow and flourish. God bless them abundantly so that in all things at all times, having all that they will need, they will abound in every good work. Grant them the desires of their heart and cause all their plans to succeed. Above all, God, equip them to be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the exceedingly abundantly above what we may think or imagine, to the immortal, invisible, the only God, be glory and
is not nearly as important as the skills that you will acquire and the expertise that you will gain. And you will also gain some habits of your discipline. For all of you, these include these following things: critical thinking, problem solving, communication, and working as part of a team. In the world in which we live now, this latter point, working on a team, cannot be overemphasized, because all of the major problems faced by humankind will not be solved unless people from different disciplines, perspectives, and backgrounds come together to solve them. In my field of immunology, and HIV and AIDS in particular, we've been at this for 40 years, and only recently did we understand that in order to solve this problem that is devastating people around the world, that my biomedical scientists and clinicians could not solve this problem alone. It has required political people to be involved, sociologists, clinicians, anthropologists even, to give you an example of what I mean by different disciplines coming together. The other pandemic, COVID-19, that has ravaged economies and resulted in the deaths of more than 4.5 million people around the world, including more than 625,000 Americans, represents one of the most challenging problems that biomedical science has faced in 100 years. Thankfully, science rose to the occasion, and safe and effective vaccines were produced in record time. Vaccines typically take a really long time to produce. The longest took 100 years. The fastest took 4 years. That was Ebola. But the unprecedented collaboration between scientists around the globe, running processes in parallel, and having a pre-existing infrastructure for HIV vaccines allowed us to do this. What this story also illustrates beautifully is how critically important basic fundamental research is to solving the most important problems. The scientists who discovered mRNA back in 1961 could scarcely have imagined that their discovery would literally help save the world 60 years later. But that's indeed what has happened. And the mRNA technology is going to give us a new way of producing vaccines. In fact, will revolutionize vaccine development for HIV and other pathogenic viruses. The COVID-19 pandemic also reminded all of us how important well-trained public health professionals are in dealing with a public health crisis. So as you enter into your doctoral research and public health programs, I hope that the COVID-19 pandemic is both inspiring to you and affirming to you that you have made a great choice for your careers. The breathtaking pace of discovery and generation of data brings to mind another very important point I need to share with you. We know from a great deal of research that what you will learn over the next coming years, you'll probably forget. Furthermore, much of what you are taught now might turn out to be wrong. This is not a reflection of you or your professors, but there's a tendency to confuse knowledge with information. They're not the same. Our ability to generate information has never been what it is today and changes what we call knowledge. So you may wonder whether or not the time you're going to spend in your graduate programs is wasted. Quite the contrary. Because more important than what you learn is that you will learn how to learn and to critically analyze information. So in the years to come after you graduate, you may have to retool yourself in your career a few times, so don't be surprised by that. So the ability to have continuous learning as a skill is going to be very important. So over these next few years, you're going to be challenged in ways I suspect you can scarcely imagine. Your mental stamina, physical stamina, emotional strength will all be put to the test, especially for those of you in the PhD program, when there's going to be some days when frustration is the order of the day. And unlike other programs that have highly prescribed curricula, doing a PhD does not. It involves fundamental discovery. And fundamental discovery is itself a unique sort of thing. And since biology is never straightforward, the best hypotheses seem very easy to test, but often turns out to be anything but that. And I must admit that when I was a PhD student, I found the idea of generating new knowledge to be very intimidating, but it transformed into exhilaration the first time I did a complicated experiment and it actually worked. So this concept of discovering new knowledge is the reason that the doctorate degree is the highest degree that you can attain, and rightly so. So you are here because we judge you to be up to this challenge. That does not mean it's going to be smooth sailing. Indeed, an important part of your training ahead is preparing you to deal with challenges. Regardless of what you aspire to do when you finish your respective programs, there are going to be hurdles to overcome and unexpected pitfalls. Therefore, please know that going into your programs, that adversity will raise its head, but view those instances as opportunities to develop resilience and use the smarts and creativity that God has given you. And whatever you do, never doubt that you can make it through. You can and you will. And let me just say that one of the things that has come out of the COVID-19 pandemic is the fact that people of color have been very resistant and reluctant to take the vaccine. Why is that? Because for decades, in fact, for hundreds of years, going back to 1619 as a matter of fact, atrocities have been visited upon black bodies in the service of research, so there's no doubt that we should have these kinds of reservations. What's the answer to this? Trusted messengers. And you are the trusted messengers we need as scientists and public health professionals. So my charge to you is, even now, as you're in your training, be the trusted messenger your families and your communities need to help us get past this. We're not going to get past this until vaccines are widely taken up, and you can help us get there, because you will be, and you are, the trusted messengers we need right now. So, congratulations on your success so far, and I look forward to watching in amazement what you're going to do while you're here and when you leave us. So again, congratulations and thank you.
It is my distinct honor and pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker for today. His name is Robert Jamel Drummond. He's an MD, PhD. Dr. Drummond is a native of Jacksonville, Florida. After graduating from Stanton College Preparatory School, he attended Morehouse College in Atlanta, where he received his BS in biology. While at Morehouse, Dr. Drummond developed a passion for mentoring and research and graduated magna cum laude and Phi Beta Kappa. Upon completion of his undergraduate studies, he attended the Medical Scientist Training Program at the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine, where he received both the MD and PhD in cellular and molecular medicine. His passion for mentoring and recruitment led to numerous institutional diversity awards, including the David E. Rogers Award for Medical Professionalism and Community Service. After completing an internship and residency in internal medicine at LAC plus USC Medical Centers in Los Angeles, California, Dr. Drummond finalized his training with a postdoctoral research fellowship at UCLA. Dr. Drummond's multiple interests have led to a wide range of positions. He is currently the lead clinician and director of laboratories at the Montebello Urgent Care Center with Optum, and he served as a physician in the California Army National Guard. Dr. Drummond also works as a concierge physician in the greater Los Angeles area and is a medical consultant for various corporations throughout the country. So without further ado, I would like for you all to turn your attention to the screens for Dr. Drummond. Thank you.
Greetings to the entering class of 2021. My name is Dr. Robert Drummond, and I would like to say congratulations and welcome to your white coat ceremony. So what's in a white coat? Like, what does it mean to when I had my white coat ceremony, and just how much fun it was to sit with my classmates and finally be able to put on that esteemed white coat. Even if it was a short white coat, who cares? It was still a white coat, right? Well, let's talk about something else. Let's talk about a guy named Vivian Thomas as it relates to white coats. What does that mean? What does that name mean to you? All right, anyone watching, can you tell me who Vivian Thomas is? So Vivian Thomas was a carpenter by trade, born in Louisiana, but moved to Nashville, Tennessee when he was 2 years old. He grew up wanting to become a physician. He actually grew up wanting to attend Meharry Medical College. The bank failed, he lost all of his money, wasn't able to attend college, wasn't able to go to medical school. But he was able to become a lab assistant in the lab of Dr. Alfred Blaylock. They went on to do some amazing research together. He moved with Dr. Blaylock to Johns Hopkins, and it was there that they did some groundbreaking pioneering research on what we call the blue baby syndrome or tetralogy of Fallot. And it was Vivian Thomas who created the tools, who created the techniques that were involved in solving this problem of tetralogy of Fallot. History would initially forget him, but eventually he will be recognized due to his part. Right now at Johns Hopkins, one of the 4 colleges is named after Vivian Thomas. Why do I bring that up? Because anyone that knows Vivian Thomas knows that he would walk around the hospital with the most gleaming white, starched white coat, much to the dismay and bewilderment of most of the people at Hopkins. Like, who is this Negro walking around with this white coat? But Vivian Thomas understood the importance of the white coat. He understood what it meant to him. He understood what it meant to patients. It's a symbol of learning. It's a symbol of education. It's a symbol of diligence. And it's a symbol of dedication towards the craft. So when I think about me wearing this white coat, I think about it in the tradition of pioneers like Vivian Thomas. If COVID-19 has taught us anything over this last year, it's taught us the importance of us as physicians, as scientists, as dentists, as healthcare providers, during all times, not just during a pandemic, but more importantly, our importance to the underserved communities, our importance to the communities of color in regards to being able to relay information for them to receive it. I think one of the biggest problems that the US government ran into was that they didn't have the trust of the minority community. They didn't have that trust, and they didn't have the trust when it came to vaccines. So one of the things that I've been able to do over the last year and a half is educate and inform as it relates to COVID-19, as it relates to SARS-CoV-2, and as it relates to these vaccines. And I drew on my experience as a physician and my experience as a scientist to be able to relay this information. So for those of you entering in the School of Biomedical Sciences, understand that your contribution is so important, not just now, but in the future. We need more minority scientists. We need more scientists of color to help us to answer the questions of tomorrow for the next pandemic that is sure to come. So each of you, whether you're in the School of Medicine, School of Dentistry, doing biomedical research, your contributions can't be overemphasized. It's so important, so vital to the community, so vital to answering tomorrow's questions, so vital to providing a constant voice to individuals who don't have a voice. And you never know how your training is going to help in the future. Now, why do I say that? I mean, some of you probably know I did a small little role on a reality TV show called Married to Medicine LA. But the original Married to Medicine has two individuals that I look up to tremendously. And that's Dr. Heavenly Kimes and Dr. Damon Kimes. Dr. Heavenly Kimes is a board-certified cosmetic dentist practicing in Atlanta. Dr. Damon Kimes is an emergency medicine trained, family medicine trained, pain specialist working in Atlanta as well. And where did they both get their training? Meharry Medical College. So you never know. Not only can you have a successful career in medicine, in dentistry, and research, you might actually be on TV one day also. So in closing, I'll say this. You are at the esteemed Meharry Medical College. Whether you're in the School of Medicine, the School of Dentistry, or doing biomedical research, you are now part of a tradition that has created the most physicians, dentists, and scientists than probably any other institution in America. Expect there to be difficulties, but it's so worth it. Expect there to be setbacks, but what do we say about setbacks? Minor setbacks for major comebacks. Expect there to be things that are unexpected, right? Expect there to be problems at home. Expect there to be problems with relationships. So how do you deal with that? Talk to your professors. Make sure you develop relationships with your professors. Let them know what's going on. Keep them up to date so that they can help you out. Make sure you talk to your peers. You'll soon find out that some of the same difficulties you may be having, some of your peers may be having as well. Find a mentor. And that last part can't be emphasized enough, because mentors are going to be the ones that are really going to guide you through the next 4, 8, or however many years of your training. So I want to say congratulations to you all once again. The future is yours for the taking. Go take it.
At this time, we will have the presentation of white coats, and we will begin with this year's first-year PhD students. Students, when I call your name, if you would, step forward, face the back towards the camera, and then a professor will stand behind you to don your coat. Perrin Black. Perrin Black will have his white coat donned by Professor Anthony Archibong in the Department of Microbiology and Immunology and Physiology. If you'll remain standing. Angel Bodrick. Angel Broderick will have her white coat donned by Dr. LaMonica Stewart, professor in the Department of Biochemistry, Cancer Biology and Biochemistry, Pharmacology and Neuroscience, and interim dean of the Associate Dean in the School of Graduate Studies and Research. Deja Grant. Deja Grant will have her white coat donned by Professor Minu Chaudhary in the Department of Microbiology and Immunology and Physiology. Mark Gorham. Mark Gorham will have his white coat donned by Professor Aramandala Ramesh in the Department of Biochemistry and Cancer Biology, Neuroscience, and Pharmacology. Let's salute our first-year PhD students. Thank you. You may take your seats. Our second-year PhD students will receive their white coats on this morning because they could not receive them last year due to the pandemic and the issues surrounding that. Our first student is Melissa Bassett. Melissa Bassett will have her white coat donned by Siddharth Pratap in the Department of Microbiology and Immunology and Physiology. Next, we'll have Ms. Keandria Morrison. Her white coat will be donned by Professor Aramandala Ramesh. Would you join me in celebrating our second-year PhD students? Thank you. You may take your seats. The second half of our ceremony includes the pinning ceremony for students in our MSPH program. Would the following students please come forward? Alexandria Dubasan. Alexandria Dubasan will be pinned by Dr. Leah Alexander, Director of the Public Health Program. Dr. Alexander is being assisted by Mr. Robert Taylor. Brittany Littleton. Maya Johnson. Malachi Miller. Taylor Perry. Megan Roberts. And Mr. Shedrick Wright, Jr. Let's celebrate our first year MSPH students. You may take your seats. Thank you. Our second year MSPH students. Stephan Bailey. Stefan. Jayla Berry. Courtney Chandler. Jessica Dumpre. Stephanie Graham. Abria Grimmett. Hosanna Debussy. Isara Hopkins. Janae Jones. Dara Richardson. And Jillian Taylor. Would you please help me celebrate our second-year MSPH students? At this time, you can take your seats. I would like to invite to the podium Dr. LaMonica Stewart, Interim Associate Dean, School of Graduate Studies and Research, to offer our oath.
Good morning. I would like our PhD graduate students as well as our public health students to recite along with me the oath. The oath is found in your program. So if you would, please stand. And let's recite the oath together. On this day, I, say your name, solemnly swear to pursue excellence in my studies and in my work, listen to and respect my teachers, apply the highest standards of ethics in my research, conduct myself at all times with integrity, respect, and dignity, be kind, helpful, and cooperative to my colleagues, be an example for the next generation of graduate students, protect the college's property and its physical structure, nurture my dreams, and keep sight of my goals in times of adversity, represent Meharry Medical College well, and be an ambassador for the institution, aspire for the benefit of mankind as a result of my work. Thank you. You may be seated.
So first, I want to recognize Dr. Ijeoma. She's a resident. She's also a public health student. We weren't expecting her, but we're so glad that you're here because I know you were seeing patients today. So we will get you your pen. So congratulations on your journey to becoming Meharry Made. Have y'all seen that hashtag? Hashtag Meharry Made. It was created by students. It reflects all the hard work that you will be required to do to complete your degree while you're here. It also reflects a commitment to serving the underserved, folks who are often overlooked, overburdened, and underestimated. Becoming Meharry Made shows your commitment to health equity, social justice, and improving the lives of people of color. So as you begin your journey, or for those of you who started smack dab in the middle of a pandemic, continue your journey here at Meharry, I want to offer just a few points of advice, so indulge me. Number one, assume the best of your faculty and program administrators. We really have your best interests at heart. We support you. Your successes are our successes, and we look forward to learning together over the course of this year and your time at Meharry. Engage. If you're in the classroom, online, whatever it is, take the opportunity to engage. Take pride in your work. Do your best. Push yourselves to be excellent, even when you're tired. Ask challenging questions. Even though we're physically distanced, be that student that comes up to the front, that has read the papers, written notes in the margins, and comes to class with tough questions for us. We love that. We may not know the answer, but we can work together to find it. Number three, in the words of our illustrious president, don't be a vector, okay? This is an unprecedented time at Meharry. It's historic. It's full of peril and promise.
So what we're trying to do here, creating this bubble for us to be together, to find some sense of normalcy, will require us to really show up and be our best selves, right? So take a look at the person to the left of you, take a look at the person to the right of you, and just commit. Commit to COVID-19 precautions, masks, social distancing, vaccines. We have to do that for this to work. Nash Vegas is a wonderful city, but if you look around, it doesn't seem like people believe that COVID-19 is real. But at Meharry, we know that it is, and we have got to lead by example, okay? My last piece of advice, they're not my words, but I heard them a long time ago when I first came to Meharry from a former dean who actually hired me. So she would say to the students, study like you don't pray, and pray like you don't study. So I think if we can all do that, we'll all make it through, okay? So on behalf of the administration of the School of Graduate Study, the faculty and staff, I just want to wish you well. I welcome you, we're glad you're here, and we're looking forward to a wonderful year together. Thank you for coming.
This concludes our program, and if you would, look on your program. Pictures will be taken outside in the stairwell. Thank you, guys, and congratulations again.
Greetings to the entering class of 2021. My name is Dr. Robert Drummond, and I would like to say congratulations and welcome to your white coat ceremony.
Education, Associate Professor, Department of Professional and Medical Education. Dr. Billy R. Ballard, Associate Dean, Continuing Medical Education, Professor, Pathology, Anatomy, and Cell Biology. Dr. Excelina Bean, Professor and Chair, Pediatric Medicine. Dr. Robin R. Chester, Assistant Professor, Pediatric Medicine. Dr. Susan A. DeRima, Professor, Department of Professional and Medical Education. Dr. Oluchukwu J. Izikapu, also known as Dr. Jude, Assistant Professor, Clinical Skills, Competency, and Academic Society Master. Dr. Digna S. Forbes, Interim Dean, School of Medicine, Professor, Pathology, Anatomy, and Cell Biology. Dr. Christopher Kiefer, Associate Professor of Pediatric Medicine, Clerkship Director. Dr. Amos M. Coma, Associate Professor, Biochemistry and Cancer Biology, Neuroscience and Pharmacology, Academic Society Master. Dr. Paul Madubuamu, Associate Professor, Department of Professional and Medical Education, Academic Society Master. Dr. Veronica T. Mallon, President and CEO, Meharry Medical College Ventures Incorporated, Executive Director of Center for Women's Health Research, and Professor, Obstetrics and Gynecology. Dr. Regina Ofodele, Professor and Interim Chair, Department of Professional and Medical Education. Dr. Theodore P. Pinnock, Associate Dean of Student Affairs and Admissions, Assistant Professor, Pediatric Medicine. Dr. Ruth Stewart, Associate Dean of Medical Education, Assistant Professor, Family and Community Medicine, Academic Society Master. Dr. Carolyn T. Zatella, Associate Professor, Department of Professional and Medical Education, Academic Society Master. Dr. Fernando Vialta, Chair of Microbiology, Immunology, and Physiology. Dr. Lloyda B. Williamson, Professor and Chair, Department of Psychiatry and Behavior Science. And Dr. Suzanne Tropez Sims, Associate Dean of Clinical Affiliations, Professor Emeritus, Pediatric Medicine.
Members of the class of 2025, please come forward when I call your names. Anastasia Abonella. Abiola Adekunle. Odaro Ado. Karen Agbin Oheve. Joshua Ag. Zaina Ajmal. Khaled Al-Omari. Joseph Anudokim. Brian Ushong. John Atia. Allison Banks. Ashley Bass. Crystal Beard. Santija Billings. Aaron Blaylock. Victoria Blue. Miriam Boles. Tiara Bradley. David Bridges. Please don your coats. Thank you. You can return to your seats. Please return to your seats. Selena Brown. Chandler Bullard. Carter Burns. Dominique Butler. Davisha Carter. Ariana Catlett. Janice Cousin. Michaela Crawford. Tamia Crockett Chapman. Ryan Dolly. Jordan Davis. Jasmine Easter. Maisha Edelin. John Ejim. Sylvia Eluhu. Alex Stefan Iwane. Karen Ezene. Helen Fanta. Victoria Faulkner. Please don your white coats. You may now return to your seats.
Have you called Michaela Gay? Okay, she's here.
Kara Ford. Sharday Foster. Anthony Freeman. Michaela Gay. Christiana Gentry. Elizabeth George. Santeria Jeter. Stephen Gergis. Terry Gordon. Janae Graham. Ethan Grandel. Omozusi Gobadia. Gabrielle Hare, John Hakeem, Keandra Hawkins, Dion Heavens, Dimitri Henderson, Deasia Holloway, Jai Horsey, please don your white coats. You may now return to your seats. Richard Ingram, Jared Jackson, Ryan Johnson, Michael Johnson, Christian Johnson, Taylor Jones, Ariel Jordan, Kafayat Kareem, Diana Kazemi, Robert Kelly, Deja Marie Laborde, Olatundun Ladele, Gabrielle Lane, Christina Lavender, Joliana Lequint, Richard Levy, Danielle London, or Daniel London, Angele Mangarola, Evans Marrero, please don your white coats. You may now return to your seats. Ari Marsh, Chelsea Martin, Nina Mbanu, Trey McClendon, Rebecca Merville, Nkarika Makolo. Aleka Myers. David Kojo Nau. Janaya Nelson. Vanessa Okechukwu. Inadenama Olakpa. Olawatobi Oshomoji. Deborah Otuno. Remy Parker. Arnell Pender. Corrie Quillen. Maya Ricketts. Kamare Rouse. Devonna Samuel. Please don your white coats. You may now return to your seats. Shakendra Sanam Venkata. Samantha Seibert. Gabriella Sierra. Taylor Spears. Camille Staley. Olivia Stevens. Colin Sturpey. Anthony Strode Jr. Sean Taylor. Noah Thomas. Jalen Thomas. Michael Thrasher. Tina Tran. Ariel Vinson. Behlul Wildai. Matthew Wells. Miranda White. Giltris Williams. Jasmine Williams. Please don your white coats. You may now return to your seats. Sunday Williams. Tasia Williams. Tiara Williams. Travis Williams. Amanda Wilson. Tyler Wilson. Natisha Wilson. Austin Woodard. Sydney Woods. Lena Wright. And Gianna Weiss. Please don your white coats. You may now return to your seats. And thank you, faculty.
All right, class, would you stand with me as I administer the oath of commitment? And would you read in unison with me? It's found at the back of your program. As I begin my career as a student physician here at Meharry Medical College, I make this commitment. I will accept nothing other than the full pursuit of excellence for myself in this my chosen career. I will hold inviolate the trust and confidence that patients extend to me as a student physician. I will always respect patients as persons and protect patient autonomy, elevate patient welfare above all other concerns, and treat all persons with compassion and dignity. I will treat all those who seek my help with humanism and compassion. I will offer to my fellow students any help or assistance that is within my power to give, should they require it, and extend to them the same respect and trust that I wish to be shown to me. I will safeguard and nurture a culture of integrity and trustworthiness at Meharry Medical College and in our profession by encouraging my peers to act ethically and by responding appropriately. I will conduct my personal and professional life with total integrity. I will be trustworthy and act with integrity in all spheres of professional life: academics, patient care, clinical research, and professional relationships. I will not cheat, plagiarize, use unauthorized materials, misrepresent my work, falsify data, or assist others in the commission of these acts, and enter into a mutual relationship of trust and respect with those who teach me, recognizing that their aspirations for me are invariably greater than those I have for myself. I will continue the pursuit of new knowledge throughout the whole of my life if I am to be among the best in my profession. Thank you. You can be seated. You are here 8 weeks after your journey started. You came as an individual, and I predict in 3 years and 9 months, you will graduate as a class. You class of 2025, like all the 145 classes before you, will take new challenges and give leadership, not only in medicine, but wherever you find yourself in this world. Other classes have faced challenges like pandemics, world wars, and denied civil rights. You are faced with some of these same challenges because you know, like all the Meharrians before you, we do not practice in a vacuum, but we lead and help in our backdrop of the world. You are created, and you were created for such a time as this. It is no coincidence that Meharry is being skillfully led by a world-class infectious disease expert in a horrible pandemic. God prepared Meharry for this. Our chief cheerleader, Dr. Hildred, is not only leading us, but assisting around the world. That's what real Meharrians do. Now, we expect as much from you. Go forth and change the world. Thank you.
Congratulations once again on your accomplishment, and we will close out with the benediction. Let us pray. Oh God, we are so grateful for what our eyes have seen and our ears have heard. We ask that each person here who has received the white coat remember that grace and mercy shall follow them all the days of their lives. We ask that they be blessed, they be strengthened, and they be encouraged on the journey. Now, may the Spirit of God rest, rule, and abide with each and every one of them today, henceforth, and forevermore. And everybody said, amen. God bless. Thank you, everybody. Thank y'all.